Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, and I'm back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we're going to be continuing with TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber, Day 22. SSRF, jingle your SSRF bells. A merry command and control hack adventure. Now, if you're new here, please consider hitting the subscribe button with the notification bell. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the content, and then comment below your thoughts and opinion on the video. Now, let's get down to business. Learning objectives. Understanding server-side request forgery, SSRF. Which different types of SSRF are used to exploit the vulnerability. Prerequisites for exploiting the vulnerability. How the attack works. How to exploit the vulnerability. Mitigation measures for protection. What is SSRF? SSRF, or server-side request forgery, is a security vulnerability that occurs when an attacker tricks a web application into making unauthorized requests to internal or external resources on the server's behalf. This can allow an attacker to interact with internal systems, potentially leading to data exposure on unauthorized actions. Leaving web applications vulnerable to SSRF can have profound security implications, potentially leading to unauthorized access to internal systems, remote code execution (RCE), data breaches, or the application being further compromised. Types of SSRF attack. Basic. In a basic SSRF attack, the attacker sends a crafted request from the vulnerable server to internal or external resources. Blind SSRF. In a blind SSRF attack, the attacker doesn't directly see the response to the request. Instead, they may infer information about the internal network by measuring the time it takes for the server to respond or observing error message changes. Semi-blind SSRF. In semi-blind SSRF, again, the attacker does not receive direct responses in their browser application. However, they rely on indirect clues, side channel information, or observable effects within the application to determine the success or failure of their SSRF request. Prerequisites for exploitation, vulnerable input points. Web applications must have input fields susceptible to manipulation, such as URLs or file upload functionalities. Lack of input validation. The application should have adequate input validation or effective sanitization mechanism allowing an attacker to craft malicious requests. All right, I'm going to skim through just some of this here. It says, how does it work? Identifying vulnerable inputs. The attacker locates an input field with an application that can be manipulated to trigger a server-side request. This could be a URL parameter in a web form, an API endpoint, yada, yada, yada. Manipulating the endpoint, requesting unauthorized resources, exploiting the response. Using SSRF to hack command and control server. Disclaimer: hacking a command and control server is ethically unacceptable and illegal, and suspected C2 activity should be reported to the appropriate incident response team for investigation and mitigation. This knowledge is provided solely for educational purpose only. All right, so don't be doing anything stupid. All right. Detective Frosto checked the C2 against known vulnerabilities, but none worked. He decided to give SSRF or a shot. Continue on here. Already started up the machine, and the attack box is running. Launch the machine, start machine, yada yada yada. You can check the C2 server by visiting the URL here. So let's go ahead and do that here. It says, but first, you need to add the host name in the OS attack box. All right, so I guess we have to do this first. All right, so let's do nano and the etc host because we're on Linux box, and add this information in there. All right, let's see here. So we need to add this 10. Okay, awesome. So I'll just add this at the top. 10.10.147.248. Tab over and make greedy secret C2. Now take note of this because maybe you're doing a penetration test or something similar to that, maybe an exam or whatever. Sometimes you'll have to edit the host file to add this information in there. Otherwise, you won't be able to reach it properly. All right, so that's a little tidbit there. So let's go ahead and save this out. And let's go ahead and continue on here. So that's already been done. Identify vulnerable input. So let's go ahead and open up Firefox here. Hopefully the machine is running quick today. It looks like it is. Once we visit the URL, From the command and control server, we'll see that's protected by login panel. McSkitty's pentester team have launched different types of automated manual scans to gain access, but all in vain. For a target to be exploitable due to SSRF, we need to use some vulnerable input to force the request to the server. Sometimes these requests can be found through scanning, viewing source code, or other documentation logs. Okay, so I guess we'll take a look at the source of the page is what I'm gathering here. Manipulating the input, McSkitty noticed a link to the documentation at the bottom of the page. Once we click on the URL, it uses or redirects us to the endpoints API. Now that we'll have some URLs, we can try SSRF against them, and it's just a screenshot of what it looks like. Okay. Requesting the unauthorized resources, we can see that one of the endpoints right there takes the URL as a parameter. If an infected agent URL is provided to it, it can fetch files from the infected agent. But what if we change the URL to a different IP address and try to access any file other or any other file? Exploiting the response, we notice that if we change the URL parameter to any other file in the host, we can still fetch the file like this. We fetch the contents of index.php. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that, I guess. I'll just copy and paste it into here. All right, let's see. Yep, there we go. Now, when you're doing an actual like pen test and such, you obviously you're going to be doing like manual testing when you go through here, and you're going to be capturing responses probably in some kind of proxy like Burp Suite or maybe OWASP app or something like that. But let's see here. The file scheme when used in a URL typically references local files on the computer. Okay, so this is looking like local file upload attack or something like that. For example, a URL like a file path to any file is often used to access a file in your system. You got files like etc password and connection strings, yada yada yada. Let's see here. We can get to the C2 panel's credentials by bypassing the file containing the password. Then we can log in successfully. It just talks about mitigation measures. All right, let's go ahead and try to answer some of these questions here. Is SSRF the process in which the attacker tricks the server into loading only external resources? That's going to be nay, as explained up above. You can go and check that out yourself. Um, what is the C2 version? So let's find that information. What is the username? All right, so all this stuff we're going to have to actually get behind here and hack into this particular VM or website. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, it wants us to find the rest of these questions here. Now, as you're going through this PHP file here, you'll come across something that says retrieve submitted username and password. And it talks about a config.php file. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that file. All right. So I'm going to put this in here. We're going to delete all this out and then paste it and see if we can access it. Doing the same thing. Bam, there we go. Make greedy and then this password there. So I'm going to copy the password and then we're going to take a look at the information behind the login. So make greedy and then his password. Bam. All right, just all right. So now here's the first flag here. Um, what is the flag, the value of the C2 panel? All right, so that's going to be it right there. Username of access to panel. Well, that's make greedy as we saw in the config file. What version is the C2 running? And down here, um, you can see you can't see it because it's covered up by that thing, but you can see it's version 1.1. So I'm just going to copy and paste it out here so you guys can see right up here. All right, see version 1.1. The last flag here, it says what is the flag value after stopping the data exfiltration from McSkitty's computer. So let's go ahead and find that real quick. Yeah, well, it says McSkitty PC. Okay, well, let's go ahead and remove it. See what it does. Yes, remove. And there we go. There's the last flag. That's pretty awesome. This is probably what like law enforcement agencies do if they come across like a C2, they'll go in, try to exploit it or whatever, or if they have credentials, log in and try to take it down. Maybe they do something like this. I'm not sure. I've never been involved in anything like that. But anyway, just if you enjoyed the task, feel free to check out the SSRF room. So be sure to check that out if you want to learn more information about SSRF attacks and such. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please sure to hit the like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell. Comment below your thoughts and opinions. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and have a nice day. See you later.